So what we're going to do now is you're going to look at your photos and pick a photo to write about, and it'll be either an asset photo or an issue photo, okay? And you've got about 2 minutes to do this, to pick one.
But we had worked with the kids in Richmond, and many of those kids didn't think they would live beyond the age of 20. They're living in a very tough world. From their perspective, if you don't think you're going to live beyond 20, what difference does it make if you smoke or do well at school? If you ask me to define stress, I would say stress is a circumstance where you don't know how to manage things. So we propose to do a study on hope, trying to show kids that they do have a future, with the idea that smoking and school performance and violence will work itself out if you feel you have a future. So the whole idea of hope to me is sort of a central idea, and it's very much related to the control of destiny idea. The idea that you have agency.
Research has shown that people who live in highly distressed neighborhoods experience alienation, powerlessness, a sense of helplessness, and a decreased sense of purpose in their lives.
In neighborhoods with high rates of violence, I've heard high school students talk about what they're going to wear to their funerals instead of what they're going to wear to their graduations or their weddings or their grandchildren's weddings. In adults, researchers study things like cardiovascular diseases and hypertension and cancers. But with youth, what we need to do is we need to study behaviors and attitudes that we know are risk factors for later health outcomes.
So hope, control, to me these are all the kind of words that give people some aspiration that they can make a difference in the world.
The Youth Empowerment Strategies Program, or the YES program, is an after-school program, and the goals of YES are to provide youth with an opportunity to experience power and control with other kids and with themselves in the community so that they can make positive community changes. The second thing you're going to write about is what's the issue or the asset in this photo.
We invited fifth graders at 5 schools to volunteer for an after-school program in which they'd be able to do something to make their school and their neighborhood a better place. And we also told them they would receive a free camera and learn to become photographers. That's something that's pretty motivating for elementary school kids.
Title, Old Man Poison. It is about a person drinking bad stuff. It makes me feel bad because they might be a designated driver and can get in a car crash.
Making use of the cameras, they begin to explore their world through cameras, and then they write about their photographs and see the connection between the story of their photograph and the actual conditions that they live in. From that point, of course, everybody has different photos, and they need to come together as a group to develop consensus on how they're going to actually come up with a project as a group.
Title, The Scary Place. The first thing I see in this picture are bad things. The issue about this picture is that it is dirty and has bad things. In this picture, you can see that somebody broke it. It makes me feel sad to know that we have a dirty and scary thing in our school.
When we look at the projects that the groups produced, it's significant that 23 out of 26 of them had to do with social disorder. They were concerned about gangs, graffiti, violence in the community.
You'll find gunshots and sometimes bullets, and you see bad things and it scares you.
Several groups were concerned about being judged to be seen as bad people by their communities because of the physical condition of their schools.
I think that the school should tear this down. I think that other people would feel sad too because of how dirty this is.
The facilitators worked to help the kids to go deeper with their thinking and to make the connections between their lives and social conditions.
Why do you think they would feel less scared?
I think they would feel less scared because they probably wouldn't be hearing gunshots.
Do you hear gunshots?
Yeah, at my house, when I'm outside, I hear gunshots and they're by the school.
Okay.
And I also hear some gunshot too. Right?
Of the kids who've heard gunshots, those kids were 3.5 times more likely to be involved in a fight at school. They were 11 times more likely to be sent home for disruptive behavior. 50% of the kids saw drug deals in their school or their neighborhood. And those kids were 6 times more likely to threaten or hit someone and 8 times more likely to be sent home from school. So it's a powerful effect of being exposed to violence.
friends could help other friends solve fights so they won't fight.
It impacts health because then you don't internalize a lot of the behaviors about feeling hopeless and feeling alienated from society. What it is that you do is you feel proactive and you realize that you have a say in how things can be. And so you engage in making things be that way. You become an agent of change. What are some things that you think we could do as a group project,
As a group project?
to raise people's awareness about it?
To like warn more people about
To
it?
warn more people, or to, I think you said, tear it down?
We could ask the principal if we could tear it down because people are scared of going back there.
Okay. After being involved in the program, students said that they were more likely to register to vote when they were 18. They also felt that they had an increased voice in saying what their school would do, and they felt they had an increased understanding of larger societal issues. And this is exciting because it shows that they're interested in helping to shape society.
By the end of the third year, some of the groups were actually moving beyond the schools to dealing with issues in the community, holding family forums in the neighborhood, talking with the police department and the fire department, and really trying to address issues within the community.
Well, if you believe that you have a sense of future, that you can actually help to shape your community and your environment, then one doesn't feel hopeless anymore. One has a sense of possibility about the way things can be, and you can work on addressing those things. So the short-term outcomes of, not taking care of yourself and being engaged in risky behaviors tends to be reduced because what you're doing is you're thinking about, well, I want to go to college. I want, there's these things that I want to accomplish in the world, and I can do it.